What's up, everybody, and welcome in to the Backliners podcasts, Aggro and BaRRaCCuDDa, as per usual. Excuse me, I should say the Olympus Bolts Hunter, BaRRaCCuDDa.
Hello, that's me. I am BaRRaCCuDDa.
That's him. Oh, I gotta
the
talk to
Olympus
the
Bolts.
prediction guys. I still got the little Renegades logo here. We need an Olympus Bolts logo.
Oh, true.
In that
I didn't even know
slot.
that was there, honestly.
Well, there it is. It'd been there, and now we're going to have to get a change. So sorry to the prediction guys for making them do a little bit more work. Welcome into the Backliners. If you haven't been here before, I don't know why this is the episode that you got here, but thanks for stopping
late
by.
to the party.
A little bit. You've missed a couple eps. This is going to all be episode
61.
30. No, that's not how math works, Bear. Hold on. Let me. Oh, I think I just showed that on my screen. Well, maybe I didn't. Who knows? Let's see how many episodes we have here, shall we? Videos.
We've been doing this for a while.
Backliners.
Since, like, last March.
This is going to be episode 38. 38. So, it's been... You missed out on a couple, but they've all been good, so you have lots of time to go back and listen. If you aren't new around here, then you know that we're talking SPL rosters today. It was supposed to be announced yesterday and then come in and do it, but... Hey, I mean, sometimes, that's just how it be. Look, that's how it goes.
It's been so painful not being able to talk about any of this for so long, man. Especially every time you stream. Like,
Yep.
you have to watch everything you're saying, and you can't hint at anything. And then Vin and Last were really duo queuing for like a month and a half.
Dude,
now.
everyone was duo queuing with everyone, like, that was on their team. Like, I feel like... I can't tell because if it's because I know everything that's happening behind the scenes, or if it is obvious to everyone else. Like Scary D playing jungle in every ranked game.
Yarkor only playing ADC.
Yarkor only playing ADC. That kind of stuff. But Barra, I think you do deserve some credit. You didn't leak rosters this time around.
I've only leaked one roster, bro.
Okay, well, that was... But that was
an 8.
Okay, but your one leak was an iconic roster leak, dude. It was so good because of the pure fear that was in your eyes immediately afterwards. Like, it was perfect. I love that roster leak, man.
I still remember my face right after saying it. Like, Baskin has his driver's license.
I loved it, dude. What a great roster leak, man. That was
Pain.
so good. That was so good. All right, let's get into it. So here's what we wanted to talk to you guys about. Obviously, there was a lot of drama behind the scenes, and Roster Apocalypse this year was extra wild. But we aren't going to talk about it here on this podcast because I can tell you that as part of the official SPL content, I'm trying to get something centered around that. We kind of want to let that be the focal point for it. Feels a little bit weird to just put it out here on the podcast without, we're going to be getting everyone's perspective, and I think that just makes more sense. So that Roster Apocalypse behind the scenes talk will be here eventually, but it's not going to be here on the podcast. What we are going to be talking about, though, is all 8 of these rosters and, of course, the names and logos, which has really dominated the conversation, I feel like. Barra, do you want to start with you guys, or do you want to, I'm on the SmiteProLeague.com website here. I could go
Same.
left to right. Okay, let's just go left to right on here. I think that makes sense.
Atlantis Leviathans?
The Atlantis Leviathan. Okay. So before we get into the roster, how are you feeling about this team aesthetically?
Really cool, honestly, but a little long. I think the team name, how do you chant this, right?
It's a little long. It's a little long.
It's such a mouthful.
But
Leviathan, you can't do that.
There's gonna be some nicknames coming through. I'm sure fans are creative. They'll come up with something.
Yeah, are you gonna cheer Atlantis?
Could do. That's easy enough. That's nice and punchy. That's the way it's gonna be.
What's gonna be the in-game name? Is it gonna be the whole name, or is it just gonna be Leviathans?
I'm not sure. It's a good question. For those of you who aren't caught up on the rosters, this Atlantis Leviathans team is mostly comprised of last year's Sanguine roster, though there is a switch up, so no Netrioid on this roster. Instead, it's Yarkor ADC, Rongyu support, Shinto mid, Panatom jungle, and a rookie addition in Julio over there in that solo lane. Julio, Spanish, I believe, so shouldn't be any sort of language barrier there. Team, the overall talk, the scuttlebutt, if you will, which I will, around. What a great word. We don't use that word enough.
That was a really good word.
Like, come on. The scuttlebutt around this roster is that no one seems to think they're going to do as well as I thought that they would be perceived to do. I mean, this Sanguine roster, that 4 out of 5 were first seed in the regular season during Phase 1 last year. You've got a lot of good performances from them in Phase 2. I think the only thing that would concern me about this roster is how poorly they played at the playoff events and at the big moments. But other than that, what makes people are putting them 5th, 6th in regular season play, and I just don't see how that happens. I mean, this team proved that they're a good regular season team last year.
Yeah, I think they are going to be a top team, and I think they're going to be a top 4 team. I don't know if I can comfortably put them top 3 or top 2.
Sure.
But I think they're going to be top 4. I think Julio's really good.
Agreed.
My biggest question mark is Yarkor. Obviously, it's every time it's a roll swap, just a question mark.
I assume you played against him at least a little bit in ranked. Have you gotten a chance?
I haven't played against him once, actually.
Oh, you're still in those baby games,
night
huh?
queues. Okay. He's been slamming the night queues. I've been slamming the morning queues. I played 6 hours with DS1 yesterday. And...
I'm sorry. Are you doing okay? Do you want to talk or what?
Okay, not gonna lie. I literally talked about it on stream. I was like, this is not smite practice today. This is purely mental practice. This is to see if I can outlast him. Once he got out of the queue, me and Ghost played one more and we were done.
Yep. Well, you got him.
And then I found out he was still playing. He just got in a different game. And
unlucky. Are you telling me you had 6 hours straight of DS1 on your same team?
I think I got it.
Or, like, in the same game, I should say. 6 hours of him in the same game.
And he was on my team, like, 9 out of 10 games.
And not even once, you didn't... Oh, I've got to go to the bathroom, chat. Guess I got to miss this queue. Oh, chat, I really need some water. Or, man, my tummy is grumbling. My dogs are barking. I need to get a snack. Like... You didn't hit him with any of those?
No, pure mental practice.
Wow.
Pure mental practice.
You're stronger than I am, man.
It was rough. It took me back to the SSG days of losing every game in a double block.
Yep. Yep.
And, yeah, so back to rosters. I think this team's actually going to be pretty good. I think they're going to have a slower ramp-up than last year. But I do think they will be good by, I would say, mid-season. But I also think it depends on how the meta works around them and if they can shape the meta to their picks.
Yeah, I
think they struggled every time the meta shifted.
Yes, depending on what the meta is going to be big for this team. I think I've gotten very few reservations about Yarkor in ADC. I think, despite all of the hype that Shinto got last year, and a lot of it deserving, I think Yarkor was Sanguine's best player last year. I think that guy is nuts. I don't know why he would roll swap out of solo lane, to be honest with you, because I think he was one of the best solo laners and one of the most impactful solo laners in the whole game. So I'm a little bit surprised to see him roll swap, but if he can bring that same level to ADC that he did in solo, I think he's going to be really good. And I think Julio is going to slot in and immediately be at very least, middle of the pack solo laner. Right away. I think he's that good. So I've got some pretty high hopes for this team. I'm surprised at how little hype they are getting as a squad. I think a lot of people just with sour tastes in their mouth after the World's performance.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think it's just people are just viewing this team as their World's performance, which in my opinion, they are way better than their World's performance.
Agreed. All right, next up, it's the Camelot Kings. As, again, before we get into the roster, Barra, give me the breakdown on the name and logo.
Kings is cool. Camelot's a little weird for me. Logo, cool-ish, but I don't know. It's not my favorite.
I like this one. I mean, you got to go purple for the royalty. You know, that's pretty important. Yeah. I think, someone in chat says one Camelot King. That doesn't bother me at all. I think if you're going to go with the Kings, the Camelot Kings makes the most sense. It's got a good alliteration, even though it isn't, it's CK. It sounds like an alliteration, so you know what? I'm high on this team name. I've decided. I like it. There you go. All right, and here's the roster from Big E is the coach. Oh, I didn't mention for the Leviathans, Oxy is still their coach, just like he was for Sanguine last year. Big E is coaching the 5 of Netrioid, ADC, Genetics, Big Man Tings, Captain Twig, and Variety in the solo lane. This team, it's a weird one, BaRRa.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
They're all really good, and I think they will mesh well together, but I look at them as a team that is purely playing for team fights.
Mm-hmm.
I don't view them as a team that's going to like really run you down early, play for pressure like a ghost team. I view them as kind of like a Sanguine / I mean, I guess I can't really say that. Sanguine / Radiance.
Well, I mean, they've got some Radiance player, and they've got a Radiance player, and they've got a Sanguine player.
Well, like in like 2021,
I guess.
Like, anyways, I view them as like a low pressure team that won't really run you over, but they will just play for a lot of team fights.
Yeah, that would be my main concern as well. I mean, Twig going back to the jungle is an interesting thing because I'm interested to see how much his playstyle has changed by being with Mike and Panda over these last 2 years. Because Twig, I think, could bring that ghost-like identity to this team if they let him be the guy for them. Mm-hmm. And I think Twig could be that dude for this squad. I'm a little nervous about these side lanes, though, BaRRa. I mean, Netrioid, I think, one of the best individual hunters in the league. But how well is he going to mesh with Genetics, who I understand his situation and playing on high ping last year, but outside of the creative Horus plays, I wasn't really impressed with what he brought. Obviously, it was a bad team situation. There's a whole list of excuses, but I think it's also unfair to completely write off that performance because of those excuses. In Variety last year, had his up moments, but overall, I was not that impressed with him throughout the course of last year. So I think Tings is rock solid in the mid lane. I think I would put the most stock in Netrioid and then Twig after that. What are these side lanes really going to be able to do, I think, is my main concern for Camelot Kings.
Yeah, I think trying to draft like the pressure comps or playing into pressure is going to be a little hard for this team. I think they can play through mid relatively easy through BMT. I think he's disgusting, but
yeah, he's really good.
Also, I think that their front line is going to be really good in team fights between Harry, Genetics, and Twig. Like, if they can kind of figure out their shot calling / leader, because I don't know if Twig's the leader in the jungle, but he seems like he would be. I feel like their team fights will be very laid out well, and they'll know what is happening through Genetics and Harry, which I feel like those two will work really well together, and I think Twig will work well with them. And then Netroid BMT, in my opinion, is a really solid backline.
Yeah, I think the backline's really, really solid. I'm not as convinced as you on the front line, but I think they could be really, really good. Like, I could see this team being top 3 potential, or I could see them... I don't think they're going to lose a ton of games. Like, I don't think they're going to be bottom 2 necessarily, but they could be this weird, like, floating in the middle sort of team.
That's kind of funny, because I was going to say top 3 or bottom 3.
Yeah, like, they're just like... who knows? Who knows with this squad? I don't know.
Bitcoin
flippy for sure. All right, on to the next team. It's the Jade Dragons. Look, I'm a green stan. Green's my favorite color. But come on. This team logo is clean. I like the name, the Jade Dragons. I think the Jade Dragons is probably just the best name across all the teams. I rate it pretty highly.
Best name, best logo, worst team.
Oh, unlucky.
Yeah, I expect this team to just be 8th all year.
Yeah, they're going to really struggle. Listen to this. Listen to this absolute trash can amalgamation of players. First of all, you've got Kabam, arguably the best coach to ever do it, coming back into the coaching role for this squad. And good luck with the likes of Panda Cat, Polar Bear Mike, Hurwind, Sam for Soccer, and Fine OK.
Really bad.
Really bad. All jokes aside, this is just obviously the number 1 team coming in, right?
Yep.
Like, I think that Twig obviously made a lot of strides towards the back end of last year, his Phase 2 performance. You can make the argument that he was the MVP for this team during that Phase 2. This team got better in the offseason. I think that Hurwind is going to slot really, really well into the squad. I think Kabam being there is going to be really big for them as well. And the rest of them are just arguably the best players in their roles.
Kabam was already a really disgusting coach, and you're giving him a perfect foundation to work with.
Yep.
So, a little unlucky for the rest of the teams in the SPL. Also, I think Hurry is a player that is only as good as his front line, and he gets the best front line in SPL.
Yep.
So, I think Hurry is going to have his best year.
Yes.
Since I think the Dignitas team he was on with Trix and Cubo and Harry, I think.
Yep.
Which that was when they were like completely popping off and playing really well.
And he had a great year that year.
Yep. And I think he's going to have another stellar year. I mean, there's really not much to talk about on this team. Like, they're going to be number one. They're going to be insanely good the entire year. They're going to be really good at Worlds. They're going to be really good at playoffs. Like,
Mike has been saying that he might mess around and make this his worst year ever. So maybe
that'd be fun.
Maybe that's the rest of the league's hope, at least the very beginning of the season. You know, obviously, even with a roster that looks that stacked, things can go wrong. But something tells me nothing's going to go wrong over for the Jade Dragons.
I feel like if anything goes wrong, Kabam will literally put Band-Aids all over everything.
Yes, Kabam, for my money, Kabam GOAT coach. So
yep.
I just think that this team is like, this is, if you don't like the big threes being formed in the NBA, like this is, for me, like this team is the Warriors with Kevin Durant, bro. Like it's just over. It feels like in some ways. All right, now on to this amalgamation of handsome gentlemen, the Olympus Bolts. Now, Barra, when you guys got the Bolts name, were you pleased? Were you disappointed? What do you think about it here?
Let's see. The only two I didn't want were Solar Scarabs and Tartarus Titans.
Okay.
So any of the other 6 that were available was awesome to me. And I'm not crazy about Olympus, but I like Bolts a lot. I think Bolts is a strong word, a cool word, and it feels good, you know? It feels nice. Like
there's the headline right there. Bolts is a strong word, a good word.
Bolts. You can't say bolts like in a cowardly way. It's bolts.
Some nuts and bolts.
You tried to do it, but it still didn't work.
It's true. Well, you have the nuts and the bolts on this roster, is the way I'm going to put it. It's Rowe coming back as coach. Basically, it's the same Renegades roster from last year that you know and that you love, but a change in the solo lane. It's Haddix over there instead of Solo Patrol or Variety. Talk to me about the addition of Haddix. How big do you think he is for the team?
I think Haddix, I mean, I troll a lot about it on stream, but I think Haddix is going to be a top 3 solo laner very quickly. I think his mechanics are literally disgusting.
Yep.
And his laning phase is literally disgusting. Like, every time I watch this guy stream, and it doesn't happen a lot, but I am, like, with Smite streams, because everyone's, like, trolling or whatever on their stream, with Haddix, I'm literally impressed every single time I watch his stream. I'm like, that was a good play. It's just that impressed feel. I don't know how to describe it, but it's just like, there's something about those kind of plays. It's not like, I don't know. It's different, I would say.
Yeah,
like the level of skill and mechanics.
Haddix is nuts, man. He's a really, really good player. I think he's definitely overdue for his SPL shot. I think that he is going to make a big difference for your squad. How important do you think it is? I think you're going to be a little bit biased here, as you should be. But how important do you think it is to stay together, 4 people from the same roster as last year? Do you think that gives a lot of people, reading the Smite Pro thread and all that kind of stuff, a lot of people seem to be putting a lot of stock in 4 of you sticking together. How important do you actually think that is?
I think it's really important because last year was a building year for this team. I think we struggled a lot throughout the year with a lot of different behind-the-scenes problems. And I think going into this year, I don't think we'll have any of those behind-the-scenes problems. I think Haddix will literally fit in and instantly do what we need him to do, which I think he'll be a leader as well as work really well with Jake and Lass in the front line. I think me and Vin need to step it up in team fights, and I think that will happen through the front line that we have got now. I don't think we'll struggle as much as we did last year. I expect us to be stronger and win a lot more sets than we did last year.
More than 11, huh? That's the goal.
A rough number to find out.
I was going to ask you how many, maybe not how many set wins, but where do you expect to be, at least through phase 1?
I would say I would be happy with a top 4. Like, sure. I would be completely satisfied with the top 4. Because I think we still have a bit of learning to do, a bit of things we need to work on. But definitely starting at a way better spot than we did last year. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of question marks around this team last year. I mean, no one knew if Jake was going to be good at all at the SPL level last year. Obviously, now it's just about avoiding that sophomore slump. And I, last year, I think that when we talked about the team, it was a lot of, if Lasberg got these leads, he was very good, but whenever he didn't get those leads, I think he really struggled. That, for me, is still the biggest question mark. But if those two things happen, where Jake continues to grow as a player and doesn't regress, as what often happens for players in their second year a little bit, just for temporary sake, and then if Lasberg can continue to grow as a jungler, obviously you guys showed what you can do come Worlds time. So I think a lot of the Bolts fans are hoping for it. And
I have a lot of faith in me and Jake duo still running it down.
Yep, a lot of new duo lanes to go up against.
I'm very excited about that. There's a lot of fresh meat in the duo lane.
Your core, I'm sure, is very much looking forward to his first Olympus Bolt scrim, huh?
That first purple buff spawn, bro. You already know.
It's going to be going in, dude. It's going to be going in. All right, here's the roster that I think is also getting a lot of well-deserved hype, not just because of who's on their roster, but the Oni Warriors logo. It's
very cool.
It's very cool, but here's what I'll say. I don't know how much I like having a team named the Warriors. I obviously, I don't hate it. I'm not super upset about it, but I'm talking about Warriors on the cast a lot. You know what I mean? I'm saying these Warriors are owning the backline, or the Warriors aren't bringing enough. Now I'm gonna have to change my vernacular a little bit.
Oni's also an item.
And the Oni Fury.
And the Oni, bro.
This team's gonna cause me some problems, bro. They're gonna cause me some problems.
OW. Ow.
Ow. Ow!
Okay.
Listen, that's what everyone is saying when they see this roster. They're going, ow! Because it's looking good. Chuckles is the coach. Vote ADC. Neil Ma support. Dardes mid. Cuvo Fred jungle. Nika solo. Basically, last year's SSG combined with last year's PK. This team is nuts, right? I mean, this team is really, really good. Do you have any concerns about Neil and Vote meshing together, or Fred and Dardes, or Fred and Nika? Because for me, I don't really think I do.
It depends. Because in my opinion, a lot of what happened last year was due to Cherry. I think the games that Cherry was able to pop off, those team fights just looked different than the ones he didn't. So I don't know if Kibo is supposed to fill that role, or what role he's going to be filling. Because a lot of times, a lot of their drafts were full late game, zero pressure, we're just going to out team fight you.
Yep.
And I think with Neil and Cubo, it brings a lot more aggression and a lot more early game.
Yep.
Because I think Cubo and Neil can go either way, I think pressure or late game. I think it's going to open up a bit of god pools in Nika, Vote, and Dardes. I think they're going to be able to play a little more aggressive picks and the more run it down picks. I just think they're going to be an interesting team. They're definitely going to be a top team, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't know how quickly they'll all mesh together. But I wouldn't be shocked if they're below top 3.
I think I think your point is very valid that Cherio is obviously a huge driving force for this team. But I don't think you could have gotten a better player in that void than Neil. Like, Neil is literally the perfect guy to put in that spot. And Raffer obviously did a lot of things very well, but I think when you compare Neil to Raffer head-to-head on who's going to make a bigger impact, it's really not that close in my mind. And Neil is going to, and especially in the types of picks that Neil wants to play versus what Raffer wanted to play, I think Vogt and Dardes are going to have more room in team fights than they know what to do with the vast majority of the time. And last year it was really Cherio's job to create that with Nika. So maybe there is going to be...
really blink in and, like, start a fight with Kali.
Right. Like, that was kind of the team dynamic. That is not going to happen. I think Neil is right up there with I think Mike is the best support in the game right now, but obviously Neil and what he brings is so important, and it's exactly what this team needed, because there was going to be a power void for this team because Cherio was so important in terms of comms and team direction and the way we wanted to play. I think this team, there's a real chance that Dardes and Vogt look even better, and they already were arguably the best, like, competing for the best players in their positions. So that is wild. I can't wait to see what Dardes and Vogt are going to do with this front line they have this year. They're going to be really good. Agreed, by the way, there's no way they're outside of top 3. Okay.
Join Ignition Casino, your go-to destination for the best online poker, table games, progressive slots, and much more. Sign up with the promo code Ignition777 and deposit using Bitcoin to get 25 free spins on 777 Deluxe.
Solar Scarabs. This team, a lot of hate, I think, online for this team name. And I'll be honest, I don't get it. I think this team name owns.
Yeah, it kind of grew on me. We were going over the names. I kind of hated it, but every day I look at it and I'm kind of envious.
You wish you were the Scarabs.
I mean, it's just cool.
Hashtag,
I like the logo. I like the name.
Can I say hashtag get bugged is like, it owns so hard. I love it.
Yeah, I don't know if it owns that hard. Maybe
no, that absolutely owns. Every time you just own someone, get bugged. Like, come on, man. It's so troll.
Like you're insulting them from, like, a Disney movie.
That's why it's funny, man.
Oh.
Come on, yeah. I mean, getting, like, they're just getting, whenever you own someone, they just got bugged. That's all there is to it. Their logo's sick. Their colors are good. The team name is solid. I don't understand why there was so much hate initially for this team roster. I don't understand.
With the roster?
Or the team name.
Oh,
excuse me. The roster, I understand why people are a little bit down. We'll talk about that. They've got a lot of rookies here on this squad. It's Slaney coaching, Zapman leading the squad of Inbound, BaRRaCCuDDa, Layers, and Solo Troll. A lot of unproven talent here, of course, between Layers and BaRRaCCuDDa as true rookies. Solo Troll, his redemption arc, basically, after a tough year last year. Bobby, after being considered the low end of supports, getting his shot here with Zapman in the duo lane, so that should be exciting for him. The Box Boys kind of bringing in Zap and Solo Troll on the sides. The number one thing that stands out to me, though, BaRRa, is that this is a lot of different play styles kind of being brought together. You know, obviously Bobby and Layers and BaRRaCCuDDa should have some synergy. They won a world championship on console together. But Solo Troll is a type of player that he can win you games if you give him the proverbial ball, but that requires giving him the ball. You know, he wants to play around his side of the map. He wants to play his little bit oddball picks. Zapman is used to not being the focal point for his team. He really wasn't any of the last 2 years. It's been really centered around Paul in that mid lane, so he's used to not being the headliner, so to speak. But, I mean, let's call a spade a spade. BaRRaCCuDDa is not Paul. So something's got to change in that backline. He's got to take more of a carry role than I think he has these last 2 years. I think there's a lot of question marks about this team coming in.
Yeah, I think for me it's all question marks.
Yeah.
I think they will be a bottom end team. I mean, in my opinion, with the rest of the teams in the SPL, I don't know if they can be a top end team. I'd be very shocked if they are. It's just question marks across the board for me. Like, literally between Sot Salt's a question mark, Layers question mark, Bronx question mark, Inbounds question mark. Zap, in my opinion, is on a question mark. He just needs to revert his playstyle back to being a selfish carry.
Yeah, but it's been 2 years, right? Like, that's a long
Yeah.
time and it's 2 years of winning in that time, right?
Yeah. I mean,
because he's going to want to
just-
change. He needs to change. We both agree on that. And then it's
Uh-huh.
going to be, oh, well, we're losing. And let's be real, it probably won't be because of Zapman, but that's hard to see whenever you're in the middle of it. So, well, maybe I just should go back to what I was doing when we were winning. But I don't think that's the winning formula for this team either. So that seems like a hard, beam to balance.
I do think Layers and Salt have a lot of potential to play through their side of the map, but it's for me a big question mark of how well they're going to do.
Yeah.
If they can't play through solo. I'm not sure about BaRRaCC. Team's just a giant question mark for me.
Yeah. I mean, BaRRaCCuDDa, obviously one of the best mid laners ever on Xbox, a total beast there. But you look at his performances in SCC coming over to play on PC. It did not look to me like he was ready for this jump, but he also wasn't playing with his core teammates that he's really comfortable with. So maybe he'll find some renewed form with Layers and Inbound here. Look, I think it'd be really awesome if this team absolutely popped off and just owned. But I think everyone is kind of expecting this team to pull up the rear, to be the caboose for a little bit. And that's where I expect them for now as well. But excited to see what they're going to grow into, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's a new map, new season, new everything. So if you are going to make a team like this, there's literally been no better chance than now, in my opinion, because everyone's kind of starting around the same. Well, I mean, some teams are obviously better than others, but I think it is a good idea and a good time to start a team like this.
Yeah, agreed. I'm rooting for him, for sure. Hopefully the boy BaRRaCCuDDa can pop off, because I think that'll be fun to watch. All right, next up, it's the Tartarus Titans. This is a team name that you said you didn't want, Barra.
I didn't really like it. I just don't like the word Tartarus. It just reminds you of, like,
tartar
stuff you
sauce?
have in your teeth. Oh. I was going tartar.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
tartar sauce as well. Wait, is tartar the stuff that's in your teeth as well?
I thought it was.
It's tartar sauce. I know that. I'm just gonna Google it here. Oh yeah, it is. It's still tartar. Why did they name tartar sauce the same thing after what's in your teeth? Right? Like, that's bad branding by tartar sauce.
Yeah. Well, we got to go back to that guy and see what's up.
Yeah, what is up with this? Hold on. I'm going to look up why it's called tartar sauce.
Yeah, I'm just not a fan of Tartarus. Is just not a cool word. I love Titans. I think Titans is a really cool name, but Tartarus just brings it completely down for me. Not a fan of Tartarus. Logo cool, by the way. I like the logo a lot.
Yeah, logo's cool.
Tartarus.
Logo's cool. It's the name for tartar sauce, in case you were curious, is derived from the French sauce tartare. That's with an E. So I think we might have just gotten a little screwed over here on the French to English translation, that it ends up being the same thing. They should have just kept the E, man. Do you think it's just that Americans are so lazy that they don't want to add that extra, like, it sounds too pretentious, you know?
Probably.
Tartar, you know? It's like,
I don't think we can say that with, like, our pinky's not out, basically.
that's a good point. I think that
Makes
would be
us feel
tough.
too fancy.
It would be a lot to do without putting the pinky up. All right, but for the Tartarus Titans, this team, coached by Cherio, ADC Cyclone Spin, support Aurora, mid Paul, jungle Scary D, and solo lane Benji. So this team, how many world championships do they have between all of them? This is 1, this is 2, this is 2, this is
7.
1, and this is 1. So yeah, 7 world championships between the 5 players. I mean, obviously a stacked roster in terms of talent, but a lot of. I still think there are a lot more question marks about this team than I've been seeing online. Everyone seems to just not be worried at all about Scary Jungle. I'm a little bit worried.
That's my biggest question mark. I think Scary, disgustingly good player, very good mechanics, pops off when he needs to, but Jungle just a completely different role. And
Yeah.
like we said earlier, every time there's a role swap, there's always question marks about it. And some people pop off right in the beginning and then have a downward trend, and some people take a while to start ramping up, and I don't know. We'll just see. I mean, he does have Paul to work with, and which I think is, in my opinion, is pretty important. Former teammate, obviously. They already have the synergy from the last 2-3 years. However long they've been playing together.
Yeah, at least 2, right? Maybe. No, it's like 2.5.
And I think having a role swap, if you're playing with someone you've been playing with for a long time, is really important. And he's joining a completely new team and role swapping. So I think he kind of needs some sense of like foundation or some sense of home, I would say. I think Paul's a really good starting point for that. I mean, the amount of individual skill on this team is through the roof.
Yes.
Like, literally, I don't know. The amount of individual skills.
It's nauseating.
Crazy.
It is absolutely nuts. But here, okay, I've got 2 main question marks. Number 1, Scary moving into the jungle. Obviously a question mark in its own right, but Scary is not the strongest communicator I've ever seen from watching and listening to some comms. Comms become much more important in jungle than they are in the solo lane, so he's going to have to step up there, especially because Paul, also traditionally not the strongest communicator coming out of the mid lane from my experience. So now you're mid-jungle, how much are they really communicating? Now, obviously, they've got a lot of synergy together, so maybe they don't need to communicate in that way, but map rotations is a huge thing. You kind of need your mid and jungle to be doing a lot of talking in that way. Cyclone Spin, not really sure how much he talks in a real team environment. Benji actually talks more than I think most people would expect for how quiet he usually is in content and things like that. And Aurora, obviously a big talker, but Aurora is going to need to shoulder a lot of weight in terms of communication on this team. And that's not always easy to maintain that same level. And Aurora did not play to his level last year. I mean, Radiance, despite looking good in a lot of these big moments, individually for Aurora, I think it was his worst season in quite some time. Now, I don't think he's washed or anything like that. I still think Aurora is one of the best players to ever touch the game and one of the best minds for the game, one of the best supports to ever play. I'd expect him to come back with a bounce-back season, but it's kind of hard when I think he's going to have to shoulder a lot of the responsibility in terms of team comms. And a third thing that I just thought of is that both Paul and Cyclone Spin
I was going to bring that up. Yep.
are very, very selfish backliners, and for good reason, because those two are good enough to just outright win games instantly by themselves, but you can't have both of them doing that at the same time, because you got to pick one. So who are you picking if you're Benji and Scary and Aurora and Cherry on this team? Who are you picking to say, okay, we're playing through this guy come late game, we're worried about this guy come late game, and will the other player be able to adjust their play style, be able to not take it personally, don't let that hurt your ego, anything like that. I don't think that's a given for this roster.
Yeah, I think the most important thing for this team is their scrim environment and how effective they are able to use their practice. I think if they're able to change and be a little bit less selfish in the backline, I think they'll absolutely pop off. But, I mean, if Paul continues to play like his world performance, they have nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Because that, I mean...
But that was playing with a team that knows how he plays and plays exclusively around him.
True.
For 2 years, right? And Cyclone has wanted to be the guy to be played around for the last 3 years, and for good reason, because he just wins games when you play around him.
Yeah, I think they're a bit of a question mark for me, but not too bad. I think they'll play well. There is a potential for Scary to get blamed, I think, a bit on this team.
Yep.
Which I'm a bit worried about, because I think everyone else, when you look at them on paper, obviously wouldn't be the issue, and then there's Scary jungle, which I just don't want him to get what's it called? Scapegoated. Yeah, I don't want him to get scapegoated on this team. I think they'll need a bit of a ramp up process, but I think they'll be disgusting if they can figure out their way to team fight / play the game.
Yep. Agreed. All right, and on to our final roster to talk about here. I think one of the best names and one of the best logos. This would have been maybe my number one. This would have been my number 2 choice, I think, behind the Jade Dragons if I were trying to get on one of these teams. Valhalla Valkyries. This team name owns, and the logo is sick as well.
Yeah, I'm not as crazy about it as you are, honestly.
Dude, this team name owns.
I think it's like a bottom end team name for me and a bottom end logo.
You're trolling, bro.
I'm not crazy of like Valhalla Valkyrie. It's a long name. Not crazy about the logo either. I don't like the way the words are like stacked on top of like a V.
That's cool. What do you mean? It's cool. It's all V, you know?
Not crazy about it. Sorry. I give it like a 6 or 7 on my scale.
Just a typical wrong BaRRa opinion. We need like a bad BaRRa opinion alert that I can just like press on my keyboard and it just like, oh, here we go again, you know, like some sort of little funky thing that come up. Yeah, I've seen a lot of this. It's trefoils, and I should have brought some because I have some and they're delicious. I've seen this take a lot. Valkyries are female warriors. It's cool, but not for an all-guy team. I think that is an ice-cold take. Freezing cold. Who cares? Valkyries are cool warriors in Norse mythology. Yes, they are women in mythology, but getting chosen to represent the Valkyries would be sweet. I think that's cool. That's all I'll have to say about that. Okay.
That side of it's cool, but the name sucks. Sorry.
Disagree. Coached by Tigress, Emilito Hunter, Raffer support, the old energy duo lane back together. Zeros mid, Johnny in the jungle, and Ducky in solo. What a weird amalgamation of a roster, but an exciting one. Here's my concern. It's all EU, and I think that the stereotype of EU players wanting to play slower is still mostly true to this day. And I just think, for my personal opinion, that fast play is just better, and pressuring the map early is just better, and sitting on your hands and waiting for teams to make mistakes is not the correct way to play Smite. And I know that statement looks a little bit silly in the face of PK's run at Worlds, where they did exactly that, but
as a team to throw like 3 times.
Exactly. All you need is other teams to mess up, and I would much rather play something like Ghost play style, where the game is in my hands and trust us to not make those mistakes. So I'm a little bit worried about how this team is going to play the map, how aggressive they're going to be. And that's before we get into, is Johnny as good as advertised? I do think he's very good. His God pool needs a massive change before it's going to be ready for the SPL.
Yeah, I would have a lot more faith in Johnny if he had an aggressive team around him. But I feel like they're not an aggressive team.
No. Zeros has never been an aggressive player, except when Season 2 when he played Thanatos mid, when you could rush tank boots and they were really OP. That was the last time Zeros was aggressive in his whole life, in the early game. I do think that if you get to late game, this team could have the tools, but is this team just budget SSG from last year?
Yeah, I kind of think so.
I kind of think they might be.
Like, I don't know. I don't want to be like mean or anything, but I just
but it's
don't think they're going to be a top tier team. Yeah,
they would have to surprise me, I think, because I mean Emilito, the most clutch player in like all of Smite for my money, just absolutely insane player when it comes to the big moments. Did not play well last year. Did not play well in his last stint in the SPL. Raffer did play pretty well for the majority of last year, but I think he was also surrounded by maybe the most talented other 4 players in the league. So how much is he going to be able to shoulder that burden himself? Zeros, notoriously a dude who it's his way or the highway. Is this team going to fully buy in? Johnny, true rookie, plays only late game hyper carries at a high level from what I've seen. And then Ducky, who's been on a bottom-end SPL team his whole career, and you can say that Ducky has looked like the best player on that team, and that can be true, but he's still never been better than a 7th or 8th place solo laner, and he's got to prove that he can be on a team that's better than that. So, top to bottom, it's a lot of question marks for this team.
Yeah, I just don't think that they're going to do that well. I mean, maybe I'm just judging them too much on paper, but
that's all we can do.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. And I just think that against aggressive teams, they're going to struggle a lot and probably just get run over.
Yep. Gotta learn how to play the early game.
Yeah, unless they just completely swap up everything. But even like going from aggressive things in scrims to aggressive things in comp, like SPL, like when Ghost is literally at every single one of your buffs on respawn, 3 or 4 people ready to invade, and they have all of their cooldowns, and they've already talked about the invade and how the invade's going to happen, that's a different feeling.
Yes.
That is a suffocating feeling of, I can't do anything here. Are we defending the next one? We'll talk about that when we get there, but it's just different. Yeah, I don't know how much Tyrus is going to bring either.
Yeah.
As a coach, question mark for me as well.
Yep. Think that's fair.
Yeah, I think it's just question marks across the board. I think they'll just need to work on pressure or playing against pressure to be good.
Yeah, I think. Also, if you're in Johnny's shoes, I feel for the guy here because he has so. When was the last time a rookie had this much hype coming in around him into the league? I don't even think Paul had that kind of... I think it was probably Paul, actually, was the last time that there was this much talk about how good a player was in their region in the SCC. Johnny deserves he deserves an SPL shot 1,000%. This dude has dominated Europe in the SCC jungle for a long time. But it has been a slow region that likes to play slow. And he's known for Aokwang, he's known for Kali, he's known for Baka. You know, a little bit of Kamazotz comes to mind for him. Those are the gods that I think of when I think of Johnny. And if you're picking Aokwang, Kali, Baka, you better be dead-ass Cherio. Like, you have to be Cherio in order to make that work at this level. And it's an unrealistic expectation for him to be Cherio right away. And then we have so many questions about the rest of the team. Are they going to try and play the same meta? Are they going to set their own? I think as soon as you have this much hype coming in, and then if he does end up struggling right away, how do you mentally bounce back from that? I'm a little worried for how Johnny is going to do if he doesn't pop off right away.
This is also a team, in my opinion, where scrim environment and productive scrims are very important for this team.
Yep.
I think if they do not have a productive environment, they will stay a bottom end team. But I think if they are able to work on their issues and talk through things, I think they will be very good.
They've got potential, man.
Also, I think Raffer is going to be a key point to this team.
Yes.
Because he just came from SSG, which played really well. And I think that they will, as you said, budget SSG. I think they'll have the similar play style. So I think he'll be, I would say, right at home and comfortable with how they want to play the game and how they want to think about the game.
Yep.
But as you said, you don't have Cherry. So we'll just see how they can deal against the pressure, which I don't know how important pressure is on this new map. I haven't scrimmed yet or anything like that, but pressure and Smite always been good.
Yeah, it's just pressure is better, man. I don't know. I think that you should just be on people's buffs, and then because you get farm and they don't, and that's pretty important, it turns out. So real quick, to go over, maybe we just do one quick zoom out here at the very end of our expected top 3. Maybe we just stay on the positive end. Our expected top 3. I'd say mine would be, I'd expect Jade Dragons, Oni Warriors, and I'm going to say, should I get a little spicy here, Barry? How spicy should I get with this last
I'm not going spicy, I don't think.
You're not going spicy, so you're going Titans third, aren't you? You're going Dragons, Warriors, Titans? Okay. All right, well then, for the sake of spice level alone, I'm going to say Dragons, Warriors, Leviathans. That's what I'm going to go with.
Spicy.
Well,
not that spicy.
Not that spicy, but a little, you taste it and you go, oh, this is not spicy, and then it lingers, it's got a little lingering.
Frank's Red Hot spice.
Yeah, I would say Frank's Red Hot is objectively spicy, but it's not it's not like, oh my god, that's so spicy.
Yeah.
It's not overwhelmingly so. Bear, you've watched Hot Ones before, right?
Very good show. Or YouTube series, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. What do you think it would take for us to have to do a Hot One style show where we got the actual sauces and then actually did it?
like together in the same room, or
Yeah, what if we did it like as a?
I would love that.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
I would absolutely love that. I would do that for free.
Maybe. Oh. You're ruining my negotiation power here, Barra.
I need thousands and millions of dollars.
Come on, man. We can milk this for sure. I don't know. I literally just came up with the idea on the spot because we were talking about hot sauce, and then I was thinking maybe we could, make sure we hit some sort of sub goals or something like that.
World?
Yeah, something like that. We can get a little charity involved, or we could just be selfish and take the money for ourselves. And who's gonna be that upset about it? Like, not me. I don't know.
I'm down to set a goal. I'm 100% down.
Okay. I'm trying to move into a house soon, Barra. I need some sub goals to hit here. Okay.
Let's get that down payment, baby.
That's right. That's what we need. Ooh, episode 50. That's a good idea. Maybe we do an episode 50 special. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. We do have to do a question, and I thought of it ahead of time this time around. I hope we haven't done this. I actually don't know if we have. Tell me. Maybe someone in chat will remember. Barra, what is your go-to Chinese order?
General Tso's, easy.
Really?
Easy. I love General Tso's.
Your eyes aren't straying. You're not wandering. You're not thinking, oh, that sounds better than General Tso's
Instantaneous General Tso's chicken, fried rice or white rice. I don't care either way. Both are delicious. It needs a little bit of vegetables. Doesn't need a crazy amount. I won't be offended if it's literally just chicken and rice. That's also really cool. Yeah, General Tso's all day easy.
I have one that's just like that. I almost never stray, though we did tonight. Because this place did not have sesame chicken. I'm a sesame chicken man.
Very good.
I love sesame chicken. And here's why. Because I also like General Tso's chicken, but my wife cannot handle one red pepper worth of spice. Like, on the menu that's got 1 through 5.
Yeah.
Dog, if we cook with pepper and she tastes it, she goes, "Oh, there's too much pepper. It's spicy." I can't.
Black pepper?
Yeah, black pepper, man. It's tough out here. Okay,
that's different.
It does. So if we're getting wait. Here's another question. Do you and Destiny when you're ordering Chinese? Do you just order one General Tso's and then split it, or does she get something separate?
Separate.
We usually share. We usually just go one.
Really?
Because it is too much for one person in one sitting.
Yeah, but you have leftovers.
Yeah,
and it's cheap as balls.
We don't do leftovers very much, I guess, and that's because we both want sesame chicken. Like, sesame chicken's just good.
Get 2 orders of sesame chicken.
Maybe we should. Here's the key, by the way, to a good sesame chicken chat. It can't be too sweet. It's obviously going to be very sweet. That's the draw of sesame chicken, is it's very sugary. The less sweet the sesame chicken is, I think the better it is most of the time. My wife probably thinks the opposite. She loves everything very, very sugary and very sweet. I do not. I like savory and salty, but sesame chicken is that nice little balance point, I
don't think I've ever judged a sesame chicken for how sweet it is.
Sometimes they're too sweet. Sometimes they're too sweet.
I don't know if I've ever had too sweet sesame chicken.
Yeah, I will say, man, we moved away from our favorite Chinese spot. It was near our old apartment. We maybe go there once a year when we're really craving it. And that sesame chicken is so good. And moving away from that apartment made us very, very sad, just because we missed that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's always very sad when you have to move away from the one.
We were regulars, dog. They knew my number. They knew my order. I didn't have to sit.
I want that.
The usual, yes. It'll be there soon. And then one day we just out of the blue stopped calling. Do you ever think about it from their perspective? That's sad.
It's like you broke up with him and
it's
just
like
left
a breakup.
Red.
It's really, really sad. Tonight, though, the place we were ordering from didn't have sesame chicken. We got chicken fried rice. Always, if you've got let's say you've got 3 people, right? Mm-hmm. And you want to be getting 2 entrees, but you're worried that's not going to be quite enough. It is I think a side of fried rice is perfect. You just get 3 people, you get 2 entrees and some chicken fried rice or some shrimp fried rice. This place had pork belly fried rice, which we didn't try because I think it could be really good or it could be horrible.
Yeah.
And we weren't ready for that variance tonight, but now that I tried their chicken fried rice, I'm big on trying it because it was very good. I think a meat fried or vegetable fried rice, perfect for that little side dish that you get. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
That's big league.
I also like to have a bit of rice with every chicken bite.
Yes.
I don't like to eat just straight chicken. Like, I like to mix the two together and just kind of get a mix of everything. Like, there's vegetables or egg. Kind of get a mixture of everything, so every bite's kind of different, but kind of the same.
I love white rice. I love it. If I have the choice between fried rice and white rice, I'm going white rice every time. There's something about it, man. Sometimes when we make rice and I've got leftovers, I'll just eat the rice. I'll eat it cold sometimes. I just love it.
That's a little weird.
I love it that much. I don't know what it is, but I love it.
I used to be that way with rice, but I think it's kind of fallen off for me as of late.
All right, I'm getting question marks in the chat, man. Unlucky.
Yeah, that is... What you said...
First of all, look,
cold.
I would prefer it warmed up, but sometimes I don't feel like it.
Okay. What?
It's a lot of work, you know? Okay, it's not that much work, but like... Okay,
that's the
look at
biggest,
this.
first world problem I've ever
All right, think about it this way. I've got rice left over in my rice cooker, right? And it's not enough to put in a Tupperware container and put in the fridge. I'll just eat it. Like, you know, it's definitely cold. It's been sitting out for a little bit. But I don't want to take it out of the rice cooker, heat it up in the microwave or in a pan or something like that. And while I'm trying to clean up, like, I'll just eat it real quick. And then I can just wash the rice cooker. You know what I mean? Come on, that can't be that weird.
I don't know what you mean.
Okay, Barra, you're telling me last piece of pizza. Okay, it's been sitting out. It's a little bit cold. It's in the box. You don't want to put the whole box in the fridge. You don't want to eat but you could just eat that piece of pizza now. Just eat it cold, right?
I'm not a fan of cold food a lot of times, so I'm kind of a bad person to ask about this. Well, like cold food that you normally eat hot. Sorry.
Okay. And for the record, Padme asks in the chat, it is left out cold, not refrigerated cold. If my rice is refrigerated, I will heat it up. But if it's like last night, we made some rice, sat out for a little bit, came back, I just ate it. It was delicious.
That's not as bad. I thought you were talking about straight out of the fridge.
No. It's not like ice cold. Okay. All right. It's just like it's like room temp.
Still a little weird for me, but not as weird.
Maybe try it out, man.
I thought you were talking like you're too lazy to do it. I thought you just meant I'm taking a big bowl of rice out of the fridge and just taking it to wherever I am and just spooning it into my mouth.
Though I would try that, is what I'm saying. I love white rice that much, man. I do.
That's weird.
When I was little, my mom would make me white rice with just like a little bit of butter and salt, and that would be like a little snack. It is so good.
Okay, that is actually delicious, and that's one of my childhood snacks as well.
Yes, sir.
Is like having some rice, salt and pepper, and like cheese, butter, ham, like whatever you want to throw in there.
Oh, that sounds good.
Bro, it's actually delicious.
It's kind of like hash browns, but with a little Asian flavor. Instead of potatoes, it's rice. You know what I mean?
It is actually so delicious, man. You will feel right at home.
Man, that sounds really good. Dude,
like those little...
I know, man, that sounds so good. Like those little ham cubes that you get from like Waffle House hash browns, like those and some rice.
Oh, okay. I'm so hungry.
All right, yeah, we're going to get food. That's it. We have to stop the podcast. Bear and I are going to eat. Thanks for watching. Make sure you guys are checking out Prediction and all their other shows. They cross a bunch of different esports, so make sure you're checking those out. Make sure you check out BaRRa's Twitch stream, twitch.tv/BaRRaCCuDDa, 2 R's, 2 C's, 2 D's.
I was getting ready.
I had your back. And of course, twitch.tv/Aggro is the place to go with all of your Prime subs and extra money that you want to donate. Of course, I mean, we're talking about it.
He's buying a house.
Buying a house. Got to help it out. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next week here on the Backliners. BaRRaCCuDDa, go.
Bye.
All right, not bad.
Thank you. Pretty good.